thank you so much for helping Faith out. My name is Jen Smith, and I'm just helping her out by showing you your roles for the day. So bear with me as I kind of acclimate you to the room. Okay, so this is our lovely drawing. We've got our commons right here, our lobby. This is where you enter the sanctuary normally. And then the seats are these little lines here. We've got the stage, we've got the pool up here in the left-hand corner, and we've got this little vestibule where people can normally walk out if it's in the middle of service or when they're exiting from the section to the hall, to the lobby. So that's kind of acclimating you to the room. If you're doing pre-check-in, which is like the person who takes the people who have pre-registered to get baptized and they're checking them in, you're going to be in this little corner of the sanctuary here. And you're going to help them check in and get t-shirts and all that stuff. I'll talk about that more in a second. If you're doing check-in during services, that's also you. You're going to be at this table. If you're doing t-shirts during the service, that's going to be you. And then if you're doing baptism attendant, there's this hallway right here. We're going to have shorts and sports bras, all the stuff that a baptism attendant was going to need right in here, and bathrooms and changing areas. So that'll be you. If you're doing the baptism assistant, you're by this pool here, and then that person helps initiate people getting in the pool and make sure that they've done all the things prior. And then they're going to send them down this way. The towel person and the ushers are going to send them down this way to check out. If you're doing checkout, you're going to do that right here in this vestibule area. So that's kind of the flow, all right? So I'm going to go really quickly just over a couple of key things that you need to know for each area. If you're doing check-in prior to services, you need to make sure that you're coaching the person that's getting baptized to be completely ready to get in the water. So they're wearing whatever it is that they're going to get in the water before they sit down for service. So ideally they would have brought a change of clothes. Encourage them to go change into those clothes and be ready, seated up in this section near the pool. Before service starts, they should be ready. So you're going to help them find a t-shirt. You're going to say, hey, what size would you prefer? You're going to hand them a t-shirt. You're going to encourage them to go change. Well, by then we'll know specific timing. So we'll give that to you and you'll let them know what Ben will say to encourage them to come forward. And they're going to meet their baptism assistant up here at this pool. Okay, so that's your job. You're going to have a roster. You're going to check their name off. That they did in fact come on the pre-registration roster. You're going to give them a name tag that has their first name printed in really big letters on their name tag on their t-shirt. And then belongings. If they have items that are that they don't, maybe they're by themselves or their entire family is getting baptized and they need us to keep their belongings, we're going to have big huge bags that you can dump their stuff in, write their first and last name on, and then store behind your tables. Okay, so that's kind of your role, is getting them all set and ready to go so that they can get in line the second that Ben says something from stage. Okay, check in during the baptism moment. If you are a person who for all the folks that are spontaneously getting baptized, they're coming to you, okay? And you're going to be at this back here. You're going to stand in front of your table with a bunch of clipboards. And for every person that walks up, you're going to hand a new clipboard to until we run out of clipboards. The goal is to get as many clipboards in as many people's hands to keep that line moving. And so that's kind of your role. You might also have the name tags. If so, go ahead and fill out the first name, and then at the t-shirt table, they'll encourage them to put them on their t-shirts. So that is check-in. There is a Serve HQ / trained up video for both the pre-registration or pre-check-in people and the check-in people. So go ahead and Faith will be sending that out. Make sure you look at it. T-shirts. That role is basically you're just encouraging people. You're going to give them the shirt that they would prefer. So you're going to ask them what type of shirt, what shirt they would prefer. But you're also challenging people to get in the water with what they're wearing. Most people will just do it, and you don't have to have that conversation. But if you are, somebody is kind of pushing back, just gently, as much as you can, encourage them to go ahead and get in the water with what they're wearing. We understand that's hard, but it's so important, because if we have people starting to change, everyone after them is going to want to change, and we don't have enough clothes for that. But then B, it also pushes the service back a ton, and we end up having, sorry, that was me shutting the door so someone didn't come in. can you go around? Sorry. So with checkout, with t-shirts, we want to keep the line moving and we want to keep the service moving. And if everybody is in the back hallway trying to find their sports bras or their shorts, it really does hold everything up. So that's the t-shirts. I will say this, you guys are also going to catch people if anyone is wearing white pants or white anything from the waist down. We absolutely need them to put on shorts. So just be mindful of that. You're going to want to go send them to the baptism attendant. If that's the case, they're going to go ahead and put on their shorts. If somebody is wearing a dress, we also want them to put shorts on underneath, and that's where the baptism attendant will come in. So you're just going to walk them over to the baptism attendant, and then they'll take care of them. And when they're all set and ready to go, they've got their t-shirt. Everybody from their t-shirts are going to put their t-shirt right on over what they're wearing, put their name tag. Then a runner will then walk them over to the baptism assistant. The baptism assistant will then help encourage them to get in the pool at the right time, and then they'll send them back down this way to check out. And this is the last thing we're going to talk about. If you're checkout, your number one goal is to not have people leave this vestibule until they've registered. So basically, we're going to have a laminated sheet with a QR code that they can scan. They're going to go ahead and scan the QR code, and it will pull up their registration form. They can fill out their information. This is how they get their baptism certificate, but this is also how we know they got baptized in our system. So this is really, really important. If they've pre-registered, they do not need to fill it out again on the iPad. So you'll have a sheet there that says who's pre-registered, and you can check them off. But if they did not pre-register, which right now we only have 2 people that are pre-registered, so everyone else outside of those 2 people will need to fill out their information on the iPad. They can also use their phone if they have their phone with them. Their belongings will be being stored behind this, so they could swing by, pick up their stuff, and then use their phone to check out as well. Once they've checked out, they'll show you the screen that says congratulations with their name, and then they're done. And throughout this whole process, it's going to be a busy morning, but our goal is just to celebrate and just to be excited for people, be present with them in their excitement, but also kind of keep it moving and keep it rolling. Thank you for serving in this way. We appreciate you.